services,
I'm sorry?
for senior
For
services.
senior services, which we'll be talking about. Well, we've already done that, haven't we?
Yeah,
Last
we,
night?
yes.
All right, is that included in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
motion and in the second? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 3 is contract for services for water co-ops. We do have one, this time for Butler Water Supply Corporation. This is the agreement that we have requested from them for us to be able to contribute $50,000 to each one of the water co-ops. Do we have a motion to enter into this contract for services for Butler Water Supply?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 4 is to approve and pay the bills.
There are 3 sets in there. One is the utilities last week, one is for this week's bills, and then we also have the ARPA funds. We paid one bill out of the ARPA fund, so it has to be separate.
All right. And the ARPA fund,
It's grant work.
it is, was that for, what was that?
That was for their second milestone deliverable. This is their
For
second.
grant works, for
Yes,
their
for grant
fee,
work.
for their fee. Beth, you want to take this? Do you want to make a copy of it? You want to wait until she stamps it, so I'm going to give it to her.
Says she wants it stamped.
Okay, thank you. payroll. We have a motion to approve the payroll,
Payroll.
sorry.
Yes, ma'am. I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 6 is reports. I have the auditor's report for March and also the treasurer's report for March. The extension report, district clerk's report for March. JP2 for March. We have an investment report. And a large part of the CDs that we have are now on the 4.1+ interest rate, which is amazing considering that they were 0.85 before. Now we have 4.25 on a lot of them. Can you tell me what this is, Beth? What
That
this-
goes on the back of the treasurer's report.
On the back of the treasurer's report, all right? Back behind the treasurer's report.
Is that this you already handed me,
Ma'am?
the treasurer report?
No, that goes with the,
With the audit.
with the audit.
Okay.
Yes. It's not part of the audit, but it's based on that audit, so that's just a report. Yeah. It may,
That was our last debt. So that was our last debt, wasn't it?
Yep, yeah, we don't have any debt right now.
Right.
As of, before March, that's what I told Holly, but Jeannie wanted it on there, but we don't have any debt. It's
Right.
paid as of before March, so.
any other reports? Maybe. Okay. If none, do we have a motion to accept the reports?
I'll make that motion. Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Burn ban?
No action.
Number 8, do we have any road use agreement? Permit bonds? If none, no action. Item number 9, to approve bonds and education certificates. We have cybersecurity awareness training. Certificates for Jamie Phyllis, Yolanda Ponce, Michael Dunn, Melissa Grissett, Aaron Moore, Daniel Ralston, Lori Bosley, Maria Munoz, Amanda McAfee, Marissa Minch, Lillian Chapp, Michelle Wynn, Cinnamon Archibald, and Jeannie Keeney.
I have a transcript here, I'd like to turn in.
Alright, Jamie Myers, Alicia Davis, Tammy Rifkenberg, Melissa Santana, Glenna Wilderman. Those were all cybersecurity awareness trainings. Everybody has to do one. Some of us have not completed ours, so we need to work on that. B.G. Young Institute of County Government, Bridge, 14 hours. Anyone else, anything else? Motion to accept,
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carried. And that's a motion to accept the education certificates. All right. Do you know when those are due? When do we have to have those cybersecurity things finished?
Pretty sure it's in August.
Thank you. Item number 10, an order authorizing Cinco de Mayo fireworks sale. In order to allow fireworks permit holders to sell fireworks, to approve that, adopting the sale. Allowing the sale, order authorizing fireworks sales. I knew that, but I'm looking at you. Is that a motion?
I can't celebrate, yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 11 is to approve an alarm monitoring agreement with WHECO Controls. And the equipment installation charge is $1,200. It's a 3-year contract. It's $250
Per year.
per year.
That's our notification system for the 911 communications tower. I'll make a motion, we approve
The agreement.
the agreement for the alarm monitoring with WICO.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We'll put the address on the bottom of that. Thank you. We'll read through that. Item number 12 is to approve the resolution for the victim coordinator and liaison grant.
So every 2 years, we have to reapply for our victim coordinator grant, and all this is just simply the resolution. Okay, you have a copy?
Okay.
Saying that we can go out for that grant, and if they give it to us, that the county would end up accepting that money from the state.
You want to
Yes, ma'am,
Just for
so,
everybody's information?
yeah, so, there's been a push probably the last 10 years or so for victim coordinators to be involved with DA's offices. In fact, it's a required position for my office to have, and as you can imagine, a lot of our cases involve victims in one way or another, whether it's actually physical harm or stuff being stolen or family members of a deceased, whatever it may be, family members of somebody younger that may have been sexually assaulted. I mean, a lot of different shapes and forms. And so the victim coordinator helps organize them and make sure that they're kept up to date with information. Again, it's just a good liaison to have between my office and making those phone calls directly to the person. To put it in layman's terms, what's going on. A lot of the people we deal with have never been involved in the systems of what we do. And so being able to explain that to them and reassure them about what's going on, and also get their opinion about what's going on. Because some victims are very happy that we're prosecuting, and some victims are very mad that we're prosecuting somebody. And so to be able to walk that minefield correctly and make sure that they understand, and also get that opinion where we can do what we feel like is just in the case.
And there are some areas that have assistance for those victims.
Absolutely.
And they help them with that.
Yes, ma'am. So there's a lot going on. Again, as you can imagine, somebody, they live in a house and they don't make enough money to be able to move out. There's shelters available, so that victims coordinator might get them in touch with those resources to go. In Navarro County, there's a shelter, as well as crime victims compensation. I'm not an expert, that's why we have the victims coordinator to be able to say what falls under crime victims compensation for the state to come in and reimburse them of any lost funds, and also provide funds if they need to move out. I know there's funds available to move away from an abuser and things of that nature. Various things, and so I can't speak highly enough of how big of a resource that is to have. To make sure our victims kind of understand what's available through the state, through the county and through the state. I mean, for both ways. You're welcome, Judge.
We have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Several seconds. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 13, let me see, is going to be tabled this time. We have a motion to table.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Number 13. Item number 14 is to accept a donation to the Freestone County Sheriff's Office of 5 Kenwood P25 capable vehicle radios from Hill County.
Yeah, I've reached out to, well, we applied for a grant, we did not get the grant, there wasn't enough grant money this year, it's been going down every year. But one of the counties, which was Hill County, they are switching to a whole different system. So they had some P25 capable radios for our new system that we just got. And I knew 3 of our constables' offices did not have those radio capabilities. So I got 5 of them from Hill County. 3 will have to transfer from my office to those independent constable offices. I know one of our constables already has one. So that will allow the constables to also be able to hear on our radios as well.
Do we have a motion? Would it be easier to just say a motion to accept 3 for the constables and 2 for the sheriff's department, then you wouldn't have to transfer?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried.
Now, they will have to have them installed, Huffman can install them, obviously, and then have them programmed to our system.
Item number 15 is a policy for solar panels. We have been contacted by several solar companies, wanting to visit with us about abatements and about them putting their solar farms in the county. And, the commissioners had thought it would be a good idea, as we mentioned before, if we kind of had an idea of how we wanted to, address these when they come. And we had heard from other counties that they were looking at doing a pilot program. That's payment in lieu of taxes. And I don't know that anyone has actually signed up for those yet, but I know they're all talking about it. And so some discussion on that we thought would be good. Number one, looking at the abatement issue, which they all will be asking for, the issue that the county would have is the way that your legislature has structured our tax allowance now. We have to be really careful because we can't, if our budget goes way up, we can't, we have to look at that 3.5%.
Yeah.
No, for the no new revenue.
No,
Yeah,
that's
for the no new revenue tax rate. So the pilot program would be a way that would get the money into the county funds, but not interfere with our collection and, or assessment of taxes. Do you want to say anything about any of that, Dan? Anything different? I mean, is that pretty much?
Well, it would be considered new value, so that would be outside of that no new revenue rate, so.
For the first year. After that, it wouldn't? After that, it would be old, and we'd already have our tax rate raised if we wanted to do that.
Well, it would,
Or had it included, I guess we'd say, in the budget without.
yes, and the only downside I see is that the way those things are depreciated under state law, they devalue very quickly. So to be able to keep your budget, you would have to raise the rate, possibly if something else doesn't make up for that quick depreciation. 10-year. And it goes down to a 20% value, and that 20% is based on what those things cost new. So it's not necessarily 20% of what goes on the roll year one. It's, for lack of better terms, an argued 20% value at that point. So you could have this big value increase of new value, which is good, but it's going to go away very quickly. So, there's different ways of looking at it.
I think that's why a pilot program is an incentive, it's worth, and back to the abatement policy, our abatement policy revolves around jobs. And all these bring in tax revenue, they don't create a lot of jobs. Therefore, our abatement policy really doesn't fit this business model and this tax structure. So to have a policy just for solar farms would benefit us, and it would get us away from that abatement deal. But the way I understand it, the pilot program, you're actually giving them a full 100% tax abatement, but then they are contractually obligated to write a check each year for 10 years at an agreed amount.
That's correct. That's correct. Okay.
It would remove uncertainty.
It would, yes.
It would remove
And
uncertainty.
there's a value to it. I can appreciate the pilot program and the money not going through the tax office, but yet still coming into the county.
It doesn't affect the cap.
And that pilot program would be for 10-year, that 10-year period, right?
Would be for 10 years,
Yeah.
right?
And it's the same amount for each year during the 10 years.
It is the same amount, yes, it's an agreed upon amount.
And does that begin when the project is completed and begins operating, or does it do?
That is correct. It begins on COD, so the commercial operation date. So that will be year one when they finish the installation of the panels. My tax consultant was supposed to be here, but he couldn't make it. He's the expert on this, but I still wanted to be here to
And-
try
and-
and answer any questions.
And that 10-year period would, so that, and depreciation, would that start then? I mean, when their depreciation would just start once, at that
It's in
same point,
service.
when it's in service? Okay.
Yes, they'll still be appraised, they just, I guess under this would be taxable to the county.
During construction.
Well, during that 10 years,
Oh, yeah,
if you do
gotcha.
that. So they'll still have a value, it'll still be,
Yeah.
you know, depreciated because other entities are going to
Yeah.
reap that in.
At the point that they put the solar farm there, when they put it there, that land will not be taxed under farm, it'll be under some other, it'll be under.
Regular.
Yeah, it'd just be the regular land price because it's being used for industry.
We're over here for the 10.
Falls back to that, whatever that.
Just whatever it's appraised at, it'd be taxed like
Okay.
real property.
Okay.
And the year or two, or however long it takes before it is completed, that would be under the regular tax rate. Is that right?
How, yeah, that's my question. What happens, do we get any tax revenue, or, you know, we're waiting on the pilot to start? In the interim, is
I think you would have to because
Yes.
it's taxes in lieu, or it's payment in lieu of taxes. So if they're not making the payment, then they're gonna be paying the taxes
And
on
the
whatever
payment doesn't
base is
start
there.
until it's completed.
Yes, so by default, yes, anything prior to that would be taxable if, however, it's at January 1 of that year.
I wish Mike was here, he would know that.
I know, yeah, me too.
I may give him a call.
Okay.
Well, it has to
It
be.
has to be, okay. I just double
Because
checking.
the abatement doesn't start until it goes into
Right.
service. So before that, the land will be at regular value.
Market value.
Market value.
So before that, before it goes into service, the landowner, the previous landowner is technically still paying their assessed taxes on it. And once we know for certain we're gonna, construct the project and go into construction, then we'll exercise that option to purchase or option to lease, and then we're technically the owners, and we'll start paying taxes on the improvements every year until it reaches the in-service date.
There's also a rollback in there too, isn't it, to take it out of ag and put it back into,
Correct, so the ag exemption will be gone. Normal
And so they
assessed
have to
value.
work with the landowners on how they're gonna help them out, I'm sure.
Yeah, that'll be on y'all's end with the landowner.
Mhm.
Right, yes, so in our agreements, we've agreed to pay any increase in property taxes
Okay.
towards the landowner. I don't know how it's structured for the other
Mhm.
deals, but that's how we did it.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then we'll have to look at, how we're gonna determine what that payment is gonna be for the pilot program.
And what kind of discount, I mean, what we can live with,
Mhm.
and is.
What would be fair to,
Right.
all the parties. You're gonna have some that are smaller projects and some that are larger projects. They're all gonna be large, but some are larger than others. So just coming up with a percentage so that we can be fair to everyone.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
To be consistent.
Be
One
consistent.
plan, one plan.
Consistent, because we've got 5 projects in the works right now, you know, and everybody's pretty soon, just about.
Mhm.
We'll need to somehow come up with a road use agreement about the traffic that are gonna tear up the roads. We need to somehow incorporate that into this agreement too,
Yeah.
because they're gonna tear up a lot of roads
Mhm.
going in and out and
At the beginning. when they do
Especially during
construction.
initial construction.
What percentage of certainty would you say that this project that you're involved with is going to come to fruition?
Oh, I would say so the industry standard is about a 20% success rate, but this project that we're working on, and I would say it's over 80%. It's at the top of our list, and everything has been going according to plan, which is pretty rare on these types of things with all the moving parts. So we're looking to construct this project.
Is this
Very
the one
high
between,
percentage.
the one you're with, is that between Teague and Mayette?
Yeah.
Yes,
Did you
yes,
get
sir.
We laid down, it's got a map on it, but
Right.
it's around 1,800 acres.
Yes, sir. A little over.
Hopefully we won't get into the situation
Did
we
you get one of
did.
those?
No, we forgot to get, we didn't get her up
Or
there.
did you get one of
I
those?
think she had one in her office before y'all got there.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because there were two in there by the same
Yeah.
tax consultants, but it was for two different projects.
Hopefully we won't get into the situation of not being able to get the little things that we always depend on China for. You know, and it's held up the cars and all those kinds of
Mhm.
things. I think we need to be, thinking about those situations. Hope somebody is higher up than us.
Right.
But
Above my pay grade.
we do love our pay grade, but. Have you heard anyone else that's talked about doing a standard rate? Rather than just negotiating with each company that comes?
I have not, in my experience, it's been negotiated by per company. They would have a consultant and then someone on behalf of the actual solar company come in and sort of just plead their case,
Mm-hmm.
based on, you know, the abatement guidelines has that point system. So based off the amount of points accumulated. However, I know you guys, you know, try and keep that within, focused on the amount of jobs created in this county. So.
Yes, but there's not gonna be many jobs, and that's
Right,
what
so,
we mainly focus on is how many
Mhm.
jobs will be brought to our county.
so, yeah, in those
That's not gonna
negotiations.
work
Yeah, you're
for us
correct.
there.
I understand, yeah. So in the past, in those negotiations, we would, try and just emphasize the amount of tax revenue we brought in from
Mhm.
the value of the project, and how that can kind of, sort of justify the amount of the permanent jobs we bring is not in what you guys are looking for. So we try to just emphasize the tax revenue on those things.
Sure.
But yeah, to my experience, no, they've all been individually negotiated.
Mhm. Well, we're trying to get an idea of what we think would be fair to everyone, so that it would, since there are gonna possibly be 5, we don't want to discriminate against anyone. So,
Right.
do y'all want to think about it again until the time comes? I don't know that we are necessarily ready to set a rate right now, but just begin the thought process and talking
Mhm.
about it and thinking about the other areas that we need to look at.
Most of the
Trying
counties,
to reach out to some of these other counties and just kind of see.
I talked to some didn't give an abatement at all.
Yeah.
Some give the 70%. So we're still gonna be
Yeah, I would.
having a decision to
We
make.
talked to some in Meridian that.
But at 70%, it's really not,
Right.
it's not a lot, you know, it's not, I mean, it's beneficial, but then again, it's not much. I think that's too large of an abatement.
I agree with that.
You know. And the way that it's been presented to me about 3 different times is, this is what it's gonna do to your county, and I think the way that we present our agreement is that this is what we're saving you, because there doesn't have to be one at all, you know?
Right.
So, it's, I'd rather be the seller of the deal than the buyer of the deal. And we've been approached as we're the buyer, and we're not.
Sure. I did talk to Leon County, and they are in the talking process of some of these, but they haven't finalized anything yet. They're interested in what we're gonna do. What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? So,
I think the one in my precinct may be a little bit further along than y'all's, I think, because they've been talking about it for a long time. They've done a lot there, so I
They've
think.
already done some geophysical
Yes,
work up
yes.
there.
yeah.
I know that the one in Oakwood, the Bar C solar farm, I thought that one was further along than it was, and I got a call the other day from a taxpayer in Oakwood who said that they hadn't settled mineral title under a big, basically the largest tract of land in the map that they've, that they've got options on. So it's and I know they're wanting us to come up with an agreement, just like we're talking about today. But they weren't near as far along as what I was thinking.
Well, we've got time, it's not like we're pressed to decide anything, and it probably will be a while before we are ready to do something, but anyway, we had that before, since we've been talking to the other counties, I'm sure.
Well, the main thing, we provided the numbers, the estimate, I mean,
Yes.
we've got something to crunch
Start
on.
with. Okay, great. Anything else? If not, we'll go to item number 16. We do not have the building plans yet, expecting them shortly. And as soon as they do, we will have our, depending on how close we are to the next meeting, we may have to have a special meeting if they come in pretty quick, so we can get that meeting. Item number 17 is ARPA funds. We have had, and I didn't go back and look, but Kervin is requesting some funds, some ARPA funds. And I don't remember if they had requested some before and we just didn't get a good list, or if they even requested some before. Do you remember?
I don't think we've had a list yet.
Okay. Well, we've just gotten a request for the, what were they called? Air packs. The field,
CBA.
what are they called? again?
CBA,
The
self-contained.
ones, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just showed the generators all over.
Yes, I didn't
Yeah,
think
that's
we got
also the
anything
list.
else. This was about $50,000 out of the ARPA funds. So we'll be looking at that, and then I guess he didn't send any specification. He just sent a little note and it had the amount. So we'll need to get everything, the specs from him and see how we're going along on that. If it qualifies, is everybody interested in doing that out of the ARPA funds?
What we got left, we had some.
We need to see a copy of where we're at.
Well, it was about,
Budget on
wasn't it
that.
about 175,000 we had left?
I was thinking it was around 200.
Yeah, that we were waiting in case
In
something
case
else.
something was over.
And that was after
the
the,
ambulances and
Right,
stuff.
right.
that money that's left after generators.
No, I don't know if the general, yeah.
I think they were
the
listed
general-
on
They
there.
were listed on there. They were listed on there. I didn't bring that spreadsheet, but
All
they
right,
were.
we'll get an updated schedule for you, and then we'll have it, we're probably gonna have to have a special meeting. But I know we'll be interested if we have the funds.
I do have 2 quotes here from the Duke Volunteer Fire Department. And so we are trying to firm up everything with them. They're going through, hopefully, municipal emergency services. We've already sent it out to the hubs. That's been done, because these are ARPA funds. We're just waiting on a confirmation for the registration of SAM.gov, and because it expired in March of this year. And this is the same company that we've used prior, I think, for the fuel station, maybe for TIG. But anyway, so hopefully we'll firm this up in the next Commissioner's Court, but I do have 2 quotes here for the air packs, and then, what was the other thing?
The Hirsch tools, the extrication tools.
Okay, it's about 2,000 more than what y'all have on your spreadsheet. This is about 68.5, and then that's 66 on there, so I told them.
And that should be the end of
Yes,
every month, it
yes.
says.
A matter of fact, the numbers I gave you yesterday, it's gonna be like $1,300 more because we had to update,
Oh, okay,
and the Scotch packs went up just a little bit.
okay. So we just need to get this all firmed up, and then we'll be ready.
We'll update that, and then we'll know exactly how much we have. I believe we'll have.
Streetman's having their fundraiser, fire department, volunteer fire department's having their fundraiser on Saturday, April 29th, fish fry and cake auction on the 29th. And Wortham's the first Saturday of, the barbecue's the first Saturday of May.
What is that date?
What's the date? Start Saturday.
May.
First,
First, okay.
Saturday on first.
And that's the first Saturday.
It'll be on the 6th,
Six,
May the 6th.
first Saturday.
Oh,
That's the barbecue at Wortham.
I'm messing with you.
I take you at your word every time.
Thank
Oh, that's scary, isn't it? All right, anything
When
else?
we were talking about possible special court, we got scheduled, and I talked to Beth about a representative with E-Force, which is a CAD system for dispatch. It's supposed to be here next Wednesday, 9 o'clock. So that, because we had talked about if we couldn't go out for bid on the dispatch bill today, hopefully we could by next week. It's a kind of a short pitch for us to let us know some costs and stuff like that, but then he wants to go in detail, so I talked with Devin this morning. He's going to contact Officer Hootsey, and I put in a call to Butler at Wortham yesterday, to Kelly Butler, let him know. But anyway, just, we want to get everybody on the same page and try to have law enforcement here. EMS, anybody that's going to be using the CAD and interested in that service as compared to CopSync or whatever. And he is supposed to be able to show how, I don't know if it's, he would use the term integrate, but use that and get stuff into net data. So that's a portion of the talk that he's supposed to.
Now, the sheet that you gave me, that's a different company, isn't it?
That's the one we have now,
The one we have?
without CAD. Yeah, that's just the one we have now without CAD. And I talked to the E-Force guy on the phone. The only way they can integrate it is if they give us that system. So it will not integrate, nothing will integrate with NetData.
Yeah.
Well, that sheet that you gave said it integrated with them.
Yes, because they're the same company.
But that's different from E-Force, isn't it?
Yes, that's totally different from
Okay,
E-Force.
so the one that he has that is CAD, it does integrate.
So they do the same thing E-Force does?
Well, yes, I mean, it's a CAD. Again, I have to have another agency discuss that, because we've never had it. We've never, ever used a CAD service in this county, or as long as I've been an officer. So I don't know as much of what somebody else might know. I know, I've seen the demonstrations, and I've seen what it can do from dispatch to our CAD, and they all kind of do the same thing. I mean, they're all a little different, obviously, but
But you do have a CAD system that's in, you said integrate with our CAD.
integrate with our net data, with our system, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes. The one that you have. No, and that's why we have that, is just so you see the option we have with the system we currently have. That is what their quote is.
Okay.
And then he reached out to E-Force, E-Force reached out to me, so, to discuss that. Because he said he could put in a whole different system for just dispatch, you know.
He called me, so I wouldn't get, I don't know anything, that's what I told him. I run from the law, I've never done it. Brian, last Commissioner's Court, when Philpott was saying that he was working, they have E-Force now, just as, so does Fairfield PD. But the way I understood the guy with E-Force when he called was that as far as like the DA's office receiving, there was software that your office could download that would allow them to send stuff to you and it would convert over or something.
I think that's exactly right. I think that coming up in this budget, we're exploring options. Everything's going digital, right? I mean, that's just the way things are happening. So this is gonna be way layman's terms. I'm kind of like you, that's above my understanding from a technological standpoint. But yes, that system would kind of pre-package their case and it would send it over to us electronically. The problem we have now with net data and something that we could probably get another company to do for us is then we get that case and we print it out hard copy, which is fine, that's what I prefer, but we can have a company basically be able to input that electronic data onto a system, and then you also have to remember that we have to create discovery for every case for defense attorneys. So not only are we printing out a case for ourselves, we are making an extra copy to give to defense attorneys. Well, I think Leon County has something similar where they can put that electronic copy on the system. The defense attorneys can access it through a password and be able to get their discovery just over that portal. So we're not making a copy of every single case we get. You're also talking about a lot of videos, right? So every case we're having DVDs or thumb drives with the videos or interviews or things of that nature. So I'm glad it's coming up. It's kind of slowly over the past 4 years. PDs have started getting involved, and I think we're looking at what's the solution on our end. But you're hitting the nail on the head. I think something like that is coming to streamline the whole process.
In other words, we have to have the same systems in our offices.
Right.
In order to do that.
Yes.
Which will be different than that.
Yeah, it'd almost be separate solution beyond net data, just with the case flow, and net data could still be there potentially for internal system, for bookends and keeping up with cases that walk through the door. Now there are solutions where a company would be able to do the full gamut. I just don't know price point, what you're looking at with the differences there. I haven't dug in that far.
Think about.
It's a lot, and there's a company I think that spoke with Renee, and I spoke with the guy, kind of switching over from net data completely, right? And I mean, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that. I mean, truly, like $300,000-$400,000. That may be some undertaking the county wants to do. It may not be. I'm looking for a solution that's going to fix the problem I said with cases coming over electronically at a smaller price point to solve Brian Evans' problem. Now, whether that can integrate with everything else going on, I don't know, but that's a conversation I think we're going to continue having with the other agencies.
That data just makes you feel like you can't be tied.
Well, I
When
mean,
you want to try to make things better and get a new system in and it be safer for all, first responders and officers, and still get the information to your office, and then not handling DVDs and thumb drives and it being in the cloud. We want all that, but to keep communicating with their offices and the district clerk's office, it's a lot of changes to make.
It is, and it's not, I don't think it's just net data. I think if we went with another company, we'd have the same situation probably. I mean, does, like Tyler Technology, do they have all of those things that, even what they're talking about, the CAD stuff?
I don't know about that. I know they have financial, and I know they have law enforcement and county clerk and JP and things
Yes,
like
they
that.
would, but I don't know if they have all these outside capabilities.
Right.
If
Still
we
might be
with
the same
someone
issue.
else. It might be, we don't know, I don't know.
And again, getting into technology that I don't know, but I know Leon County, like all the agencies use eForce. But the DA's office, document management systems through LGS. So we can get it electronically and we can upload it into that LGS system to solve the discovery problem and copying problem. So again, I think there's probably 1,000 different avenues that it could go. It's just trying to find which one is cost effective and solves the problem on both.
And looking at another county that uses net data just like we do and seeing how they do that would probably help speed us. Did you know if Leon County uses net data?
No, net data's lost about 10 counties. They're leaving net data. About 10 counties this last year, and I reached out to a county that, because we need some help with net data's program, and so I reached out to a county, and the closest one is Russ. Leon County just went to Tyler Technologies during the process, or this year, they're converting over to Tyler Technologies. And I'm not saying Tyler's what we need, I don't know. But I know it's net data. Okay, our net data rep came by about a month ago. They're doing away with what we know as net data. They're going to something called CommCourt. They'll be going up on all of our costs that every department pays. He couldn't tell me how much and couldn't even show me what they're going to. So, net data's kind of, you don't know what you're going to be
How
in.
much did we spend on that data last year?
I'll have to
probably?
look, I'm not for sure, because it's a bunch, but not near what we would pay, but we do pay quite a bit in every department. We pay financial between me and the treasurer, and then the law enforcement, and the county clerk, and the e-file, and all of those things, so I can look.
I wanna say just for our office, it's like 17 or 19,000.
Right.
I think that's what ours is. It was like 15, went up to 17 this last year.
But they are, there have been a lot of changes with net data, like she said. Matter of fact, we've been put on notice that once everybody upgrades, because you're gonna have to upgrade eventually, or you're not gonna have that data system anyway. So once they upgrade and improve, what they're saying is an improvement of everything, then if you're not on board, then you won't have it anyway.
Or how much time we have?
They told me in about a year.
Yeah, they couldn't
It
tell me
takes
that.
that long to go to another company to do the conversion. We did get a little cost study through Tyler, just seeing what would it cost us, and what ends up costing you is the initial cost,
Yes.
the conversion, moving all your data from net data into their system, and it was roughly going to be $100,000 per office. So you're looking at about four.
We have looked at that in years past.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, when they did the last conversion, when they went from, well, for the financial, I know, we lost all of our data. And I don't think they were supposed to, but we did lose all of our data, so we only go back to like 2013 that we can pull files up on. Well, at first, that probably was a problem. Now we have a lot of years in there we can look at, going back. But, from what I understand, they weren't supposed to lose the information, but they did. And so it doesn't mean that the next company won't be able to, bring our information forward. But I know it's a big undertaking for the financials.
And the quote I give you is the whole system upgrade for our office. So that includes everything, upgrading, adding the CAD system, all that stuff. That's the whole thing. But that's what she was saying. Every office is going to be probably 100,000 or more just in the upgrades that we're going to be required to do.
Is that just the sheriff's department on that quote, or is that dispatch as well?
No, that's dispatch. That's my entire office.
Nobody's come talk to me. I mean, net data's been here, but nobody's called me or talked to me about that.
When is that CAD system guy going to come in?
Wednesday,
Wednesday?
a week from today.
Okay.
And he said he wanted to have a meeting with everybody.
He said he had a pretty lengthy presentation
Yes.
to go over all the capabilities.
Yes.
Once he said that, I said, you can't do that in court, because it makes court too long, I won't show up that day, so.
But he is wanting to give about a 2-hour demonstration of what all it can do, as far as its capabilities, and I took it as for the officers that are
I
involved.
took it as far law enforcement, dispatch,
Right.
first responders, from that side of things.
Yes, but, and I think that's gonna include.
And for Brian too, yeah, for getting cases sent over electronically and stuff.
So we'll have a better idea once he comes.
Exactly, I just
So
hope
you can see how
everybody
it
could
works.
attend, if it's not the company we wanna go with, it's not the company, but if it just gets us all thinking alike the same page and everybody knows what everybody actually needs, then at least we can go look for a company that provides that, if this is not the one, you know?
Get a better understanding.
Right.
Mhm. Certainly need that.
Hey, one more thing about the ARP funds. Billy is here, and he's got an update that our ambulance will be here in December.
Happy day.
That,
They called me Monday and said they received the chassis that y'all approved, changed to, and that moved our date up from sometime in 2024 to December of this year.
Good deal.
Y'all still looking for a car? Or one?
We are.
Which I noticed the construction kind of already clearing the right of ways out there and stuff, and we need to find something sooner
We
than
are, I
later.
just talked to Richard too, and he's gonna get me some.
Good deal.
All right. Anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion carried.